In this case, this is a really massive scandal.
Oh, come on. Give me a break. I mean, it is the deep state swamp apparatus.
I think President Barack Obama is probably very worried.
There's the scope and scale of this, of the things that they tried, probably are going to blow our freaking minds, I think.
Massive developments today in the Arctic frost investigation, showing the FBI under the Biden administration pulled thousands of phone records, bank records, communication records of hundreds of journalists from the right-wing media outlets, politicians, Republican influencers, you name it, they were there. Kim Klacik still with me, and joining us down the line joining us down the line is Joel Berry from the Babylon Bee, and RJ Howman from the Heritage Foundation is back with us. Joel, are you there? Good evening. Talk us through this astonishing announcement from the House Oversight Committee today that, this started with six senators having their phone communications, the data around their phone communications intercepted by Jack Smith's investigation into January 6th at the FBI. This now is spread, thanks to whistleblowers, to 400 different individuals and some of the biggest media brands in America. This makes Watergate, look like Toy Town.
Yeah, well, that phrase, worse than Watergate, has been so done to death over the last, 12 years because of the way the media approached Trump. Everything was worse than Watergate. This was worse than Watergate. That was worse than Watergate. It's kind of been played out. But in this case, this is a really massive scandal. It is, it really shows that kind of everything that the Democrats accused Trump of, the anti-democracy, authoritarianism, anti-free speech, all this stuff. It really, the accusations were admissions, and so it's kind of not surprising, but I'm glad that these truths are finally coming out, and I guess a side of me kind of wants to hear some of these conversations because there's probably some pretty juicy stuff in them.
Fair play. But do you really think? I've been plowing through a bit of the report today, and they sort of seem genuinely convinced that there was a plot involving everyone from Newsmax to Fox News to conservative training colleges to the GOP to all of Donald Trump's family, friends, lawyers, associates, and convincing themselves that they were involved in some sort of plot to bring down the US government, to spark an insurrection. I mean, surely at some point someone would have thought, this is nuts, but they seem to have gone along with it.
Well, it shows exactly why the Democrats played up this January 6th narrative so dramatically the way they did, because for Biden's entire term, they used it as an excuse to spy on Americans, to imprison their political opponents, to go after, to go after the right, to go after innocent people on the right, in just a vicious and brutal way, bringing the entire power of the state down on these people. They did it for 4 years. We all saw it. It was terrible. And this whole January 6th narrative was their excuse for doing it. And now that narrative is kind of fizzled out, we're kind of picking up the pieces and seeing how far this went. It's pretty awful.
Joel, stay there. I'm going to have a chat with some guests here in the studio. RJ Howman, 197 subpoenas to 34 individuals and 163 businesses. This is a fishing ship, right?
I mean, again, it just shows how law enforcement agencies were hijacked to advance political interests.
On that important point, there isn't any evidence in this report that this came from the orders of the White House.
Oh, come on. Give me a break. I mean, it is the deep state swamp apparatus. You can make that argument, a lot of the stuff at DHS too, and ICE being abolished from within. You look what happened at DOJ, FBI, DHS, ICE under that Biden administration. It was a coordinated political war. And one other thing on the FBI front, too, not to interject something else here, but you had the FBI agents coercing with the Southern Poverty Law Center, CLPC, going after conservative groups like one I used to work for, which Slack used to get rid of our whole internal office communication. These agencies have been hijacked, and we're finally just figuring it out.
Jack Smith says, name the place, any time, any place, I'll come and defend this to the House Oversight Committee. His lawyers are saying he's ready to testify, he's ready to talk. let's say what we have to say, right? Why aren't they calling him?
Yeah, great question. I mean, you got to do something now. It's one thing in the media coverage of it and everything, but I don't even think we understand the scope and scale of this stuff. We have to get to the bottom of not only what happened at the FBI. Again, so many other agencies that are in the law enforcement apparatus were hijacked. We got to make sure they can't be down the line. We got to dig everything up. You can't just point at it and say, "Whoa, that happened. That's bad." Prosecute the people and get to the bottom of it so it can never happen again.
Kim, you got Ted Cruz tonight saying, his AT&T's lawyers told him that, to not go. They were trying to get his phone records. The legal team for the phone network turned around and said, "Hold on, what is the First Amendment here? Like, what the hell is going on?" How much do you think this is going to be? Will we ever actually get to the truth of this matter, or is it just going to get lost in the noise of the Dems saying, well, shouting, well, you did this, you did that, screaming about Comey, screaming about Letitia James, and it's just going to end up in this messy. We've talked about this before on the show. It ends up with this messy lawfare fight where actually the public kind of get desensitized to these astonishing revelations because they just look at them and think, you guys are all bad as each other.
Well, it should go far, right? You got the major influencers on this list, like, say, Steve Bannon. But then you also have...
they did actually manage to lock Steve up, so they got him.
Yeah.
Slippery slope.
They also have, though, a Pennsylvania State Senator, Doug Mastriano.
Yep.
Okay, so they went all the way down the line, okay? So this has to be investigated. I think it's a little confusing, though, because I don't know if phones were tapped or if this was metadata. And I think that's
a lot of it's metadata, but what we've learned tonight is banking is, bank details. It was basically asking permission to...
Did they have a warrant for all these things?
What haven't we learned yet, too? I mean, there's still so much.
Yeah, Joe, how does the administration, how do these individuals who are targeted themselves, elderly gentlemen who run conservative training courses that teach, Senate interns about processes, accused of being an insurrectionist running a sort of madrasa for terrorists out of his barn somewhere. I mean, how did the right keep the focus on this rather than, as I say in there, this just gets dragged into another shouting match about lawfare and going after James Comey?
Well, it is a challenge because, we all know next week there will be something else. I do fully expect for Congress to drag some people in front of some committees and wag their thumb and maybe do some yelling, maybe write a few strongly...
We're losing that. Hang on, we're losing
letters. I don't need to end it. This needs to end in prison terms for some of these people. It does.
RJ Herman, I mean, there's all sorts of talk that Trump's, only just getting going. Mike Davis, one very pugnacious Trump world attorney, saying, this is just the appetizer. Trump's going to go. He's obviously indicted Comey. He's indicted John Bolton. Letitia James is looking like she's in a bit of bother with her mortgage forms. Where does the retaliation stop? Obama was out the other week saying, "Whoa, let's all calm down a bit." Yeah. Do you think he's getting worried? Do you really think that the Trump administration is going to push it that far?
Yeah, listen, read between the lines there on that comment from him. I mean, I think they know the scope and scale of things that happen at those agencies. I mean, there's just, when you think, and I'm thinking too, when we're talking FBI and everything, we know that these FBI agents were trying to set up Tom Homan, for an example, on a future...
He hasn't quite said he didn't take the cash, though.
Well,
I mean, he's slightly...
Well, but listen,
he's slightly fudging
the cash thing, when you were talking about a bribery, if you will, on a potential electoral result for a potential role that results from it, those are FBI guys.
Call me old-fashioned. I tend to find, call me old-fashioned, but I tend to find when you're talking about 50 grand in a brown envelope, it's not a great place for any politician.
Oh, so you believe it entirely, though, because it's from that? I mean, listen, there's the scope and scale of this, of the things that they tried probably are going to blow our freaking minds, I think, in the next couple months or the next couple years. Everybody's got to keep their head down, keep chugging, and keep finding stuff. The American people aren't going to be like, all right, well, you did it.
Kim,
keep going.
The Republicans have got to hold the House, right?
Yes.
Or they are going to be in, having unleashed, you could argue lawfare or retribution, I can't even speak now, I'm exhausted, retribution themselves. If the Dems take back control of the House, it's going to be impeachment, it's going to be hearing after hearing, and the pendulum will just swing back. Yeah. Doesn't Obama have something of a point of we all just go, we don't need to lock each other up all the time. Like, maybe, I know the Dems started it and all of that, but is it time to call quits on this and say, look, let's just stop?
No, absolutely not. And I'm not worried about the House either.
Leave
I'm
us
not
down.
worried about the House. I mean, we're going to have many seats picked up in Texas. I think North Carolina, we're going to pick up some more seats. So I'm not worried about losing the House this midterm. But at the same time, I think President Barack Obama is probably very worried. Yeah. I mean, we saw a lot that came out during Trump's first term and the spying on Trump Towers. And there was even things that were found on Anthony Weiner's laptop. I mean, we still didn't get all the answers from all of that jazz. So I hope they continue to dig. Like RJ says, we shouldn't stop. We've got the House, we've got the Senate, we've got the White House. Let's just keep on going.
Joe, would you be comfortable to live in America that, indicts their former presidents and tries to lock each other up? Because, if they go for Obama, they'll go for Trump after Trump is out of office. Where does this end? And does it make America look a little bit like, France or somewhere?
Yeah, that's the worry. Does this kick off an endless cycle of people arresting each other and indicting each other and using lawfare against each other? I don't know. I hope not. It would provide a lot of great material for the Babylon Bee. I will say that. So, regardless of what happens,
we are
be there
in
to
the
make jokes
business
about it.
Yeah, we are in the content business. It would certainly keep this debate going. Joel, just while I've got you, we've been talking all week, actually, really, about ever since Trump said he basically said he's not running. Trump 28 doesn't really work. It's too cute. And he basically tipped Rubio and J.D. Vance to basically carry on his project to pick up the torch. Just quickly, your thoughts on Trump 28. He's trolling, right? The fact he's even talking about it is sending people around the bend. And in your view, the J.D. Vance-Rubio ticket looks pretty unstoppable, right?
Yeah, well, I guess I think I feel safe calling it right now. Maybe that's a little presumptuous, but I do think J.D. Vance will be our next president. I think Marco Rubio would be a great running mate for him. I agree with Trump. I think it's a really unstoppable combo. Marco Rubio has been a huge bright point in this administration. He's been doing a great job. I think he would do a good job kind of getting the most of the normal conservatives, the traditional, Christian conservatives. J.D. Vance kind of has the backing of a lot of these young conservatives, this rising new right. And so I think it would really be a tough ticket to beat if they combined forces.
Indeed, J.D. Vance, in fact, speaking right now at Turning Point Rally, I think I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. Kim, on that exact point, it's kind of his to lose right now, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think J.D. Vance is obviously tapped to be the next president. I, myself, though, I'm a huge Secretary of State Marco Rubio fan, so I don't know if he would want to run on a ticket as a VP. I don't know. RJ might know.
Well, that's the thing. You can argue.
A long way to go.
1 minute left. But we can argue that, actually, Rubio is the more senior and experienced politician, but obviously J.D. Vance has got the natural title.
Well, they're both acting in accordance to their current roles in the political reality. J.D. Vance is doing kind of the ho-hum stuff. He has to do a VP occasionally.
Yeah. And he has to stay at home on all the foreign trips, obviously.
Yes, that is true as well. But then Rubio as well, too. The guy is just, when you look at it, I think the two best are Scott Bessent and Rubio are just foot on the gas. All the stuff they're doing. I wish some certain agencies, DHS, were run as good as those agencies are.
Do you want us to clip that bit up? Should we distribute that
Remember,
clip?
mass deportation, 75 million voted for.
All right, that's enough. Joel, thank you for joining us down the line from the Babylon Bee. RJ Howman, on form as ever. Kim Klacik, thank you very much. All of you, do come back and see us very soon. That was Harry Cole, Saves the West.